Hello, I'm Barbara Connor, and I have the pleasure of interviewing today Fred Prejean. Welcome. And Fred, you're now the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, is that correct?
Yes, I was recently elected chairman, and it's an honor to serve in that capacity.
Well, I know that you certainly have the experience to bring to that. How long have you been on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
A little over 10 years.
Well, I guess you know it by now. 10 years, all right.
I have served as chairman in the past. It's been several years, though. We like to rotate chairmanships, and I guess it's back to my turn now. But I'm glad to serve in that capacity, and hopefully the years that I've been on the commission will help guide us in some new directions. Times are changing, new ideas are coming about, and I'm excited, particularly about our comprehensive plan that we've been working on.
Yes. At long last.
At long last, we see some action, we see some movement, and people have been, I guess, demanding that.
That's good.
You know, recently we've seen a number of people who reside in subdivisions who've come to our planning commission meetings because of some development that is taking place in their neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And quite often they're not in agreement with the type of development that is proposed. And they come to our meeting and they make our feelings known. Oftentimes, because of the subdivision regulations and the zoning ordinance that is in place, it's difficult to turn down some of these developments. However, with our comprehensive plan, we're taking a proactive approach. Rather than reacting to development that's taking place in our neighborhoods, in our communities, our planning commission is being proactive in the sense that we're planning ahead of time before a development is proposed for neighborhoods and segments of our communities. I'm excited because I see just ordinary neighborhood people, coming together and saying, I want to play an active role in determining what's going to come to my neighborhood.
Yes.
I'm especially happy with the effort that's being made on the north side.
Yes. Tell us about that.
Well, not only do we have individual neighborhoods who are working on the development of a neighborhood plan, we also have a coordinating committee that's helping to coordinate the individual efforts that are being made by different neighborhoods. That body is called the Lafayette North Plan Coordinating Committee.
All right.
They are looking at the big picture of North Lafayette. Mm-hmm. They are examining numerous elements that impact our daily lives. Elements such as drainage, economic development, education, utility system, infrastructure. There are 11 elements in all that clearly impact our daily lives.
Right.
So this Lafayette North Plan Coordinating Committee is coordinating the big picture, the overall effort, while simultaneously the individual neighborhoods are working on their particular areas and designing their neighborhoods. The Freetown Neighborhood Organization and the Macomb-Vizay Neighborhood Organizations are two that come to mind readily. However, there are a total of 6 neighborhood organizations thus far who've come together and are working on plans for the development of their neighborhood.
Yeah, and I need to mention also that Johnston Street has a redevelopment team also trying to design. I've been sitting in on that one. As you know, I'm also in the Planning and Zoning Commission, much junior, of course, to Mr. Prejean. But there is, I think, an effort in different parts of the city, different geographic areas.
That's absolutely correct. And here's something new, Barbara, I don't think you even know about, because I just got a copy of the Planning Commission's agenda for later on this week. Excuse me. And one of the items on the agenda to be discussed is the creation of a Southeast coordinating team for the parish and a Southwest coordinating team for the parish. Now, that's tantamount to the Lafayette North Plan coordinating team. So now we've got the north, the southeast, the southwest corners of the parish that we're focusing on The western end of the parish, there will be a coordinating team eventually.
Right.
We're not there yet, but we're working toward getting there. With these 4 coordinating teams, they will be examining a broad geographic area, while the respective neighborhoods that reside within that geographic area gets to do their thing and determine, what they want to see their neighborhood look like. This is not an overnight process. I got to say that people, we tend to want things to happen, just like that. This is a process. We are building a future for our families, for our children. This process takes time. Our children don't grow up overnight, although sometimes it seems that way once they're grown. But, just as a child, it takes time to grow and mature and become a young man or a young lady. This type of planning takes place with developing a community as well. We plan it in stages. If we don't ever get involved in the planning, the end result does not occur. The end result we desire does not occur. So planning, implementation, and then you observe the results and make necessary changes to improve your quality of life.
Yes.
What a democracy we live in when we can get involved with our parish government, when citizens can get involved in this type of activity to help determine their future and guide our elected officials in a direction that citizens want to go. That's what I call living in a democracy.
Yes.
And with the political elections that are coming up this October, we have a parish president's seat that will be open in the election. We have parish councilmen who will be running as well. If the residents of Lafayette will come together in these neighborhood groups and identify the kinds of changes that they would like to see, this message can be and should be passed on to those persons who are running for elected office, because after all, the parish council, the parish president's office, administration control the purse strings.
Yes.
Okay? So what's wrong with just average people like ourselves, neighborhood people, having a voice in telling our government, this is what we'd like to see? And, during campaigning times, candidates will announce what they plan, if they are elected. Well, I urge the citizens of Lafayette to contact the candidate of their choice and tell them we want to see the planning efforts of our neighborhoods continue. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive. And that brings to mind the fact that in order for this planning effort to succeed, we must have the tools that are needed. I'd like to give you an example. A manufacturer who builds a car, there are many parts that goes into a car. But if that car doesn't have an engine, I don't care how pretty it looks, it just isn't going to run. Same thing with our planning effort. We now have a structure in place that we're constant. It's evolving. We're constantly developing the neighborhood structure, the larger coordinating team structures. To have the structure is one thing. To know and go after what you would like to see take place is one thing. But to have the staff to make this happen, I liken to the engine of a car.
Yes.
Lafayette has one staff member who works on the entire parish's comprehensive plan.
I see.
If you compare Lafayette to other cities of our size with planning departments, you'll find that their planning departments have at least 12 people, 12 planners who are working with neighborhood groups just like ours, helping them to develop their neighborhoods. So, as we address our candidates who are running for office, let's ask them to help create a planning department, a planning department that specializes in planning for the people of this community. We spend a lot of our tax dollars on many things that are needed. Here is one that has another direct impact on the lives of people and our families. Let's spend some of our tax dollars to help our neighborhoods.
That sounds terrific. I'd like to mention, if I may, some specifics of the kinds of things. I think you said the 11 elements. One of the things that people do, and it's a process. It doesn't happen just at one meeting. People get together every other week or whatever, sometimes for a year or two, and so that everyone is clear about what they want. And so it's going to be considering where we think we're going to build our next school or a recreation area, which way we might want the roads to go. Do we want sidewalks, setback? There are all kinds of very specific things. Well, as I say, like how high the curb is, how many trees in a parking lot.
What the mixture of commercial versus residential presence will be.
Right, right. And all of that ties into deciding how the sewers will fit in and the electricity, underground electricity.
Whether
we
there's
hope.
Adequate drainage.
Yes.
All these things come into play when you're planning
Yes.
a neighborhood or a community.
And also making sure that there are compatible uses next to each other. You know, you don't want a house with many, many young children next to a dirt pit or something like that.
That's right.
And I think it's important to remind people that the parish of Lafayette has no zoning whatsoever at all. And the different municipalities, it's according to that particular municipality. Lafayette has zoning, but we're the
And Lafayette zoning is about to go through a big change with the inclusion of or the development of the Smart Growth Code. That code will give developers another option of how to build. And when we talk about how to build, we're talking about zoning. What can go in particular zoning areas, and how do you make commercial interest and interest of the neighborhood? Folks are scared about, when they hear commercial development is coming to their neighborhood or near their neighborhood, they get very scared, and sometimes justifiably. Commercial establishments will oftentimes increase the amount of traffic that takes place there. Commercial development sometimes scares people because they fear the drainage pattern will be altered. That's not correct. But commercial establishments serve a purpose, and every neighborhood needs those services provided by commercial establishments. And depending on the type of neighborhood you have, that will determine the type of services that residents of your neighborhood require. So I like the idea of mixing those service commercial businesses nearby neighborhoods. That means you can walk to your hairdresser, or a barber shop. You can walk to the corner pharmacy to get your prescription filled. And you can go to the corner of the grocery store to get the salt and pepper for your gumbo. Don't forget, that's important. So, I think we need more cooperation between residents and developers. Developers are our friends. I want to say that again. Developers are our friends. Developers keep this economy going. Developers that provide jobs, and the structures they provide enhance the community. So I've got a lot of good things to say about developers. I've got one thing I'd like to add to that, however. I would like to see developers incorporate the ideas of community residents, neighborhood people, into their developments. I'd like to see them make their developments more people-friendly. And with the neo-traditional concept of architecture and development that's being used now, I think we are going to see more walkable communities, communities that are more livable. You're going to see a mix of commercial and residential development. So heads off to the developers, and I want to encourage them to continue working with the neighborhood groups. Come to the various committees that the Planning Commission has established. Meet some of the people who are talking about things they want to do with their neighborhoods. I find when people sit and talk, they can and get to know each other and each other's needs and what you're trying to accomplish. they find a way to make it happen. Mm-hmm. It's when we're apart, each doing our own thing, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, that's when we, get in trouble. So I encourage people, sit at the table. Let's talk.
Oh, yes.
Let's plan.
Yeah, let's plan.
Let's not be reactive. Let's be proactive.
Right. Oh, I agree with you. One thing I want to mention is medical care. That's another thing that in community commercial establishments you could have doctors' offices, dentists, or so forth, and different clinics.
Absolutely.
And for example, I think there's been some discussion about hospitals and if it's possible to have them a little bit more geographically accessible to the entire area.
Absolutely. For the north side of Lafayette, I think, is an area that is in dire need of medical facilities. Mm-hmm. We recently had a local hospital that is building or announced that they will be building on the south side of Lafayette, and that's great. But we need a hospital on the north side. We have sick people on the north side, and we are trying to promote the expansion of the north side. Mm-hmm. So we've got to get the medical profession tuned into our thinking and help them to realize that the north side of Lafayette is going to expand. It's the higher ground. It's where people should build anyway. So I'm hopeful that in the near future, there'll be some serious discussions about establishing a hospital. I'm not talking about just a clinic. I mean, we do need walk-in clinics and we need doctors' offices, but we need a full-fledged hospital for the north side of Lafayette.
Yes. Well, I hear you. I hear you. And I also think that we need to keep up our downtown core. I understand that the geographic center of the city of Lafayette is generally around Johnston and South College. And I think that we already have a couple of hospitals in that general vicinity, and I think that's probably a pretty good geographic accessibility. And then with some others on the ring, as you're kind of talking about north, south, northeast, southwest, all of that.
Upper Lafayette is also another term used. Upper Lafayette has no hospital.
The Upper Lafayette. Okay, yeah. Upper Lafayette.
This is I-10 area in the little north.
Right. But that's all a part of planning. It's where do you want your boulevards? How wide do you want the streets? All of that is to be talked out by the people who live there beforehand. So you get your say ahead of time.
I recently heard something I thought was pretty profound. The statement was that leaders are really followers. People are the real leaders of the community. And oftentimes we hear the cries, we hear the plea of people, and someone recognizes that, takes up the cause. That person then is following the cries of the neighborhood or the people. So he is really a follower carrying forth the message of the leaders, which is community people. So it's important that community people make their wishes known, make their interests known so that somebody can pick up the ball. Somebody who wants to walk in a leadership role can pick up that ball and says, I'm carrying this baton because this is what people in this area need. This is what they want. They said so.
Well, let me ask you, you're talking about leadership and following what the people tell you. Are you by any chance running for office?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am. I'm running for state representative, District 44, which, by the way, is an area where I was born and reared, and I live now. All my life I've been there. I hope to bring some big changes to that area. I've been talking about being proactive during the course of this show. And that's exactly what I want to do in the role of state representative for District 44. My involvement with the Planning Commission has been a tremendous help for me because it's given me an opportunity to meet with people, to sit in meetings with people, to help develop ideas with people, to figure out implementation strategies with people. I mean, I've been involved in this. I've been pushing the development of our parish and the development of North Lafayette. And that's what got me motivated to run for this position. We do need a change in leadership, in North Lafayette. And I think it's the kind of leadership where you roll up your shirt sleeves, you get involved in the mix, you make decisions, you carry through, you follow by example. And that's what I'm going to try to do.
Well, I think all your experience with working with neighbors is going to suit you very well with working with the state legislature. The public sometimes gets really upset about things, and I can't imagine the state legislature's any harder to work with.
Oh, they're a tough bunch. I've had the opportunity to work in state government. I served as undersecretary of the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries for 5 or so years. Okay. And part of my job was interacting with legislators, getting my department's budget funded annually. So I've had the experience of working with the legislature, the House Appropriations Committee, the Senate Finance Committee, the Natural Resources Committee. Well, they're a tough bunch of guys to work with.
I'm sure they are.
I know how they operate in Baton Rouge, and I'm looking forward to bringing the needs of the people of the District of 44 to Baton Rouge and trying to acquire the resources that we need.
Oh, I see it every day that people who start out upset and about things are the very ones who can get most involved and really bring it to a positive, a mutually agreeable solution and really build a neighborhood. It's fabulous.
Well, you know, unfortunately, frequently we wait until something affects us personally, you know, and then we want to take action. Fortunately, I'm seeing a different group of people here in Lafayette. People who are becoming involved in all these committees we're talking about. These are not people who are necessarily being impacted personally. These are people who have a vision. And they're putting their vision on the table. And we're looking at it. And everybody's doing that. We're creating a new vision from the vision of many individuals. And hopefully this will be satisfying to people of our parish.
Well, I think so. I really thank you for sharing your vision with us, Fred Prejean, candidate for the 44th District of the State House. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.